Phew! Goodness, what a story. What a story. Guys, welcome to the stream. Thank you for joining me. And you guys will never believe the stress and stories we went through behind the scenes here just now. Thankfully, McDrying and John were here to keep me cool and help me sort it out. So at least we've got some stream going. But after this stream is done, I'm going to have to try and figure out what on earth these people have changed, how they've changed it, and how to get the stream going in future, because it seems like there's been mega changes in slobs and the way YouTube talks to each other. So anyway, that's enough of that. I got the chat pop out going here on the one side because that's just disappeared in slobs. We're busy loading the Zibo and we're going to enjoy the ride today.
On runway 17, flaps.
Right, let me have a look at the chat here quickly. Joj, welcome. Norman, welcome. Andrew, welcome. Those are the names I can see. I cannot see anything else. I do not know how many guys are online, nothing. I am flying kind of blind. But the purpose of this flight is to show you guys what I've learned, what I've been able to implement, and also it's a little bit on request as well, because some of the guys that were with me in the wee hours of this morning were talking about the quick circuits and the benefits of it and how to set it up and so on. So I thought I'm going to use the opportunity to do a little bit of a training session with you guys. So it might take 5 minutes longer just to run through everything. I'm not going to fly from point A to point B. I'm literally going to do a circuit at Porto, and we're going to end with an Autoland, and then just show you guys how I do it, and then you guys can also toy around with it. Jet Noise, good evening. Thank you, John 12 watching, and hello Joe. You guys are welcome to join us on Discord, the guys that have access. If you don't have access, you can ask for access. Those things are available. But without wasting further time, let's start with the basics. First of all, I'm not flying real time. I think for the effect and for the ambience, I've changed the time a little bit. Also, please take note, this is a predetermined weather file that I'm running through Active Sky, and I'm going to also invite you guys to go to my OneDrive. The link is in the description below the video. If you go to my OneDrive and you go to Explain 11 into the Zibo folder, there is a new folder that's called Autoland. Inside of the Autoland folder, there's a PDF with your little tip sheet that tells you what you need to have for Autoland to work. It also contains the flight plan for today, so you can download it, put it in your output FMS plans folder in Explain, so you can import it the same way I do it. And it also contains the Active Sky weather file, which I've put absolutely at the limits for us at Porto, so that we can get the full benefit of the wow factor for Autoland, where we're not going to be able to see the runway until the last minute, kind of a thing. You know how it goes. So those things are there. Let me actually just enable my display capture and I'll show you quickly.
On runway 17.
Right, apologies for this lady. She's going to interfere every now and then, but that's her job. Alright, so we've got the PDF, we've got the FMS plan that we're going to use, and that is the weather file that you can import into your Active Sky. And to show you what Active Sky looks like at this point in time, that's the weather we have. It's slightly different. I don't know why Active Sky does this. If you look at the meter that is displayed on screen now and the custom one that I made, it's different, but it gives the proper effect. The one behind the scenes, when we go to weather control and we actually look at the edit and we look at them, that's the one that's active. Why it doesn't show us on page 1, I don't know. That's a hi-fi sim issue. I don't really care. But these are the minimums that we can fly to. So it's been set up to give us that. And obviously that's just what it looks like now, so we're gonna have some fun. All right, as always, we started the flight that I showed you guys with the Cessna 172, so we make sure that all the scripts are run and that we don't have script startup issues, and that the Zibo actually performs the way that Zibo intended for it to operate. So let's try see if we can get some light on the subject and start setting up. Then I'm going to, after we've just got some resemblance of normality, we'll talk through the whole flight plan. I'll show you the Navigraph story, so you guys can actually replicate it on your side as well. And that thing needs to just go that side. All right.
On runway 17. On runway 17.
We'll use our logo
Okay,
lights.
have a good flight.
Thank you. We intend to. Right, so we have a 7 knot wind there. Right, so I'm just switching the transponder on and everything. That looks nice, eh guys? I mean, that really looks very, very wonderful. What do you think, Uncle John?
Fantástico. Es muy bueno.
Awesome. All right. Okay. So we have a QNH of 1010. All right. Start that timer. All right. So the one thing that I changed in the Zibo was to get the fuel to load instantly. I don't want to wait for a fuel truck. The engines are running, and also that's one thing I changed. I'm using a payload of 16 just to give some weight there. We'll use 4.5 on the fuel. And then let's look at our plan. Let's do this step by step so I can show you guys how we do this. The reason I chose Porto, number one, is you literally fly from the SID into the star. So you don't have to work out the elaborate flight plan. It's not difficult to set up a circuit. It's actually quite easy. So from our manual input, all we're going to do is say LPPR to LPPR, and then we're going to create this. Yes, guys, please. Thanks, Uncle John. If any of you want to ask a question, please stop me. Stop, please. I don't want you to leave without understanding completely what we're doing. The aim of this tutorial is to show you how to create a little circuit like this for yourself using the FMC, using all the tools available to us, using the autopilot, flying it, doing the auto land at the end. So, guys, please make sure that you follow and ask your questions when needed. Right.
Like to say, I don't want to confuse the issue.
No, well, as long as you're on topic, you can talk, but stay on topic. Yeah, that's a good plan. Alright, so we're going to use runway 17, and then we need to find a suitable departure for ourselves. So the way to find it is obviously we're going to use one of these methods. So we click on our little eye over there. We're going to find probably manual one right. So let's just try that one. Alright, so that takes us out of our airport on our SID. Then our arrival is going to be one of these. I know, but let's do it this way. Let's also show you. So in flying out there, the next logical one is going to be that little pinkish purpley one. So let's use it, able to tango. Alright, so let's just show that chart and pin that one. We can also do that one. Alright, so we've got this SID, and then we've got the star, and then we've got the direct to in between. Alright, and then what we need to do is we need to set up the approach. We're going to use the ILS, and that's it. There's our circuit fully configured for us. But now we need to be clever about this. One of the reasons, another reason why I choose Porto is you've got visual approaches, you've got ILS, you've got VOR DME, and you've got EGNOS. So there's a wide variety of approaches you can fly here. Now, it does not really have an Cat 3 ILS for the real world proper Autoland scenario, but the Cat 2 ILS works perfectly well for Autolands, and that's what we're going to use here today. So Porto is one of those nifty little airports where you can set up a proper circuit like I've just shown you, and you can fly it either way, you know, left or right, clockwise, anti-clockwise, doesn't matter. You can go over the sea, you can go over the land. There's a whole multitude of different configurations that you can configure your little circuit with, and then interchange, and use your approach that you would like to play with and practice with. So anything is doable here, almost anything at least, and that's why I like this airport very much. Just want to quickly save the actual airport as well. We need to have that. What's the 1 minute, Uncle John? Alright, okay. So, you guys have probably noticed I keep on clicking on the pin. The moment I click on the pin, it goes and it puts the shortcut to the charts at the bottom here, so I can just flip through them very easily. Alright, then reason number 3 I use this airport is because of this. There are restrictions, and this is something that is very important in the Zibo. You will find that the Zibo tends to like to adhere to restrictions, height restrictions in your flight plan. And when you fly over here, you will end up at this point at MANIK here, and you will have to be at 11,000 at or above 11,000. So we're going to cruise at 11,000. If you do not follow the rules, and this is another thing to come and practice here, to start getting into the habit of following the rules properly, you're going to end up with problems with top of descent calculations and all kinds of other things that's not going to work properly. So if you really want to just practice a quick flight, and run through all these things, they have already listed 3 very good reasons to come and fly here, which now also includes all these restrictions that needs to be adhered to make a successful flight. So it's a very good training site, this, from all angles. Alright, so then we're going to fly all the way back over there to ADNOV, and there again you'll see there are certain restrictions that are in place. Again, you need to understand them and incorporate them into your whole flight plan. Fatty flooders, you can use little nav map as well. I prefer to use Navigraph because I've got it, but in all honesty, the visual representation should be fairly similar. It's not going to give you an actual chart, but it's going to at least show you the actual circuit, and it might actually give you a little bit more information. Then the other thing that you can also do anyway is you can just Google the charts. I mean, I'm pretty sure somewhere on the internet you'll find a free copy of a chart somewhere. Just Google them, I'm not sure what the Civil Aviation Authority of Portugal is called, but there should be something available for you, to give you the actual chart that I've got here. So anyway, but besides all that, everything is in my folder that I showed you, so you can obviously use the video in conjunction with my files, to help yourself as well. Right, what else do we need from here? Not much. ILS, let's quickly look at the ILS. Alright, so I've already told you we don't really have a Cat 3 ILS here. We're going to use a Cat 2 ILS, and we are very definitely going to use the radio altimeter for this, for the Autoland. Alright, it's important to use the radio altimeter in my eyes and for my purposes, because it actually measures your altitude from the ground up, not from sea level or anything, and it's a radio altimeter, which is more accurate than barometric things. So when it comes to low visibility, that's just much more accurate. So we're going to definitely use that. Once we make our turn at the top there at 4,000, obviously we're going to get onto the glide slope, and the aircraft will just follow the ILS down. There's nothing much to it. What we need to be very careful of is that we use the correct localizer and the correct approach course. What is very important for Autoland is these two values need to be set for both the captain and for the first officer. If it's not set on both sides, you will not get an Autoland. It's just not going to work for you. So it's very, very important to have both of those things set. And we'll talk again as we continue with the flight. We'll remind you guys and show you where to put them and how to do that. Right, so that takes care of our planning. We are already on runway 17 at the very, very threshold at the end. It's got an extended threshold, which we're just going to use anyway to do the takeoff run and get going. I just need to make sure that we now have all the correct informations in place, and we'll quickly talk about that as we go on. So the first thing that I am going to do is just check again. We've probably used some of our fuel, so we don't care. We're just going to top it up again. Then we're going to start programming this FMC. Right, so we're going to program it exactly as if we're going to fly a normal flight. So everything has got to be in place that we normally do, but we're going to take certain shortcuts, and I will also tell you about them. The first thing that I want to bring to your attention, if you are not familiar with it, is anytime you have a block like that, it is a requirement. If it's a dashed line, it's not a requirement. Alright, but obviously common sense also needs to prevail. So certain times it is nice to have to just put some stuff in there, like the company route, So we're going to then tell the aircraft LPPR is the origin and LPPR is our destination, and then we're going to give the flight plan. Alright, so another thing that's nice about the flight plan that is in my drive, which you guys can go and download, is it comes from Navigraph, and it will include your SID for you. You must just select the star, so I'm going to show you that shortly. That's just my own personal flight number, just to fill in the blanks. We're going to activate it, and then we're going to go check the departure. MANIK 5 Sierra. Alright, so that is slightly different to what we had. Let me get the display capture going again. So I'm just going to change that to make sure that we have the same one we have in the aircraft. Yeah, there you go. Alright, so it's got a little bit of a kink in there. Only difference. So that is the one we're going to use. Then we're going to go for the arrival. As you can see, it's already accepted the star, but now it's asking us, are we going to use VOR DME, or are we going to use ILS? In our instance, we're going to use ILS, and we're going to use the ADNOV transition. We're going to execute that. Our glide slope needs to be on because it's an ILS, and in fact Zibo himself told me the FMC is intelligent enough. You never have to switch the glide slope on or off. It knows when it needs to be on or off. So guys, please remember that. Don't switch that ever. It's not necessary. It will be where it needs to be. Alright, so our next step, just to make sure that we are doing the right thing, is just to go and run through this flight quickly, and you'll see it's a fairly short circuit. I think total air time is less than 20 minutes here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to step through, and you will also now see there is our altitude restriction. Right, so it says there we need to be at 11,000 or above, as I mentioned to you. I'm going to turn around, and we're going to go start going back. And that just takes us back into normal position with our go around. Right, any questions thus far? Can we continue? Are you guys happy, McDrying, John?
100%?
Yeah,
That's absolutely fine.
Okay. Alright, I'm going to skip all the other stuffs because we're not doing a proper long flight. This is just for our circuit. I'm going to use an assumed temperature of 32, and my takeoff is going to be flaps 5, and there is the rest of our parameters. Alright, now referring back to our chart list, I want to see what our runway heading should be. .71. Okay, this time, guys, for those of you that were online with me early this morning, I'm not going to use that other procedure. I'm going to use the normal TOGA procedure as the normal Boeing SOP. So we're just going to use V2, and we can then use VNAV and LNAV as usual, and then we're going to climb to 11,000. Right, we've got flaps 5 and the green light already. And reset. Alright, we're not going to use our VOR, so we're going to switch that off. Alright, we can use weather, not that there is really anything. It's basically fog and low-lying clouds, so no worries about that. ILS frequencies, we might as well set it now while we are kind of in a good position. 10990. Right, so let's get our angle better. We have 109.90 on captain's side, 10990 first officer's side, and we have our course heading 171 both sides. Both flight directors are on. We are armed on LNAV, VNAV, everything is in place. Okay, so we are fully configured for the takeoff and for this circuit. You guys ready?
Are you going to bother for the 1,000 on your altitude pressure, Nico?
John, say again, please.
Are you? I know it's only 1,000 over. Are you going to do the altitude pressure?
Yeah. We're gonna fly it as a normal flight. We're gonna fly it exactly the same. Hi, Jose. Hello. Welcome.
Thank you. Sorry I'm late.
No worries. Welcome. Okay. I just want to drag my chat to the other screen because it keeps on hiding behind my charts. Captain Smoke, hello. All right, okay. We are taking off in Porto in Portugal, and we're just going to fly a circuit and go through all the motions and things as if we're doing a proper flight, and we're going to end up doing a Autoland. So I'm ready. Let's go. Gear up. Gear up and off, and RTO off. Norman, 172 according to the chart, 171 according to explain. So we're using 171 because that is what the Zibo reads and what it requires. You cannot override it with the chart. You have to use what the FMC says.
Just sent you a message in Discord.
Trying, I was not planning on doing the 31, only 40.
Okay.
Norman, if you change your course now to 172, just to end that discussion, you're going to get an error because it's not the course value that's set in the FMC and what the explain uses. So there's no point. It's not giving us the error now, but if we turn back and we get on course, you'll see that. So it's very, very important. I'll show you when we get to this page as well later on in our approach reference. That is the dominant setting ever, forever and ever, that you have to use, not the charts.
Altimeter setting.
Captain Smoke, there's nothing wrong with Prepar 3D. I've got it on my system. I fly it as well. I obviously use explain much more because of my involvement with what I do, in this whole project. And I prefer it by far. And there's a lot of reasons for it, which we don't really want to go in right now. But X-Plane is my preferred sim. Has been for more than 2 years already. Right, so if you really want to be fancy and go through all the motions, you can obviously now play all your little bits.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again from the flight deck, we'll level off now at our cruising altitude. We're going to go ahead and turn off the fasten seatbelt sign. I'd like to kindly ask if you are staying in your seats to keep those seatbelts comfortably fastened for your safety. Onboard computer showing an on-time arrival, no ATC delays either. We're going to stay quiet up here, have you enjoy the flight and the service. Once again, welcome aboard.
That's nice.
Yeah, very cool, very nice. I also switched my orthos back on to fly in this region. Not that it really matters in weather like this, but I mean, it's, it was a good idea at the time. Right, so what we'll do is we'll wait until we turn around and then we'll start doing our descent planning and all the rest of the stuff. Because I've already set up the ILS, there's not much to do, but we'll talk through that when we turn around. So, just to recap, the whole purpose of the flight is just to get practice. It's about learning the systems. It's about learning how to handle the aircraft, the takeoff, the straight and level flying, the descent, the systems, the FMC, the whatever. You know, it's about having a short enough period that demands a lot, that keeps you on your toes. In a very short period, you have to run through a lot of things, get you into practice, keeps you practiced, and you know, then we're just going to end up with the Autoland at the end, which is something that I really love and I've done quite a few of. Let me actually show you the logbook quickly. So since this morning, just after midnight my time, I've done quite a few. That was the first one, and that was the last one at the bottom, obviously. So you can see the Autoland is really performing much better than previous ones. If we go back and you look at one like that, that was an Autoland, 621 foot per minute versus where it's at now. It's a hell of a big improvement. I was actually looking at my YouTube channel 8 months ago. Myself and Twixter and Dorje and a bunch of you guys actually went on what I called the Autoland adventure at Lisbon, and we did 1 or 2 good ones and a couple of bad ones and so on, you know, but that was 8 months ago. My, how things have changed. It is so much better now. It's unbelievable. Yeah, it's brilliant, brilliant. Zibo's really outdone himself now.
And he's still working on it.
Yeah, still going. So I saw he was online earlier. Right, so as we making our turn, obviously I told you that we're using a preset file, so apart from that I can obviously check in Active Sky, but I know that the QNH is 1010, so we can set that already. We know from our charts that our radio altimeter needs to be set to 108.
Sorry, Norman, I've moved the mic away a little bit because of my breathing.
108 is our minimums according to the chart, so let's just recap on all of that. So we're going to do radio altimeter 108 feet there. That has been set. We know that our course and localizer frequency has been set, so we're happy with that. What we need to then also look at is our landing rate. So what we're going to do is we're going to do flaps 40. So we're going to select flaps 40, and then just to remind ourselves, we're going to do a 10 knot correction instead of a 5 knot correction. Okay, now a couple of guys have asked me about this. I did a couple of tests. The best performance I get is when I add 10 knots to VREF. If I add 5 knots, it's like the aircraft is too heavy and the aircraft does not land at 100 foot per minute. It lands way harder than that. So for my purposes and the way I like to fly, and obviously when I want to use this for a virtual airline, and because it's obviously it looks nice, feels nice, I obviously want the aircraft to have a little bit more energy to bleed off than to have too little and then slam into the ground. And that's why I add 10 knots on top of the VREF instead of 5 knots. Now there is a formula that you can use when you have more wind, so you can obviously add more speed to counter more wind and to help you if you've got stronger wind, but I'll leave that up to you. You can go Google that and play with the wind. But my suggestion, and please don't turn around and say I'm a real world pilot and you're talking nonsense. I'm not talking about real world. I'm talking about in the X-plane and with the Zibo. My simulator recommendation is simulation related. So my best recommendation under these circumstances is just add 10 knots. It seems to be the sweet spot and it lands. So I've obviously had it in the past where the runway contours was an issue. That has been resolved. You can have your runway contours on at this point in time. Obviously don't go land at a crazy airport that really has shoddy runways, and then say, oh, but you said it should work. There's also an element of common sense you need to use, so bear that in mind. But with a runway like we have here, an ordinary runway, I tried it at Lisbon as well. I've been a few places now. It works okay, it's fine. The runway contours does not influence it anymore like it used to. So if you follow the checklist that I've given you guys, those are the basics. Get that right and it seems to just work. It's just, that's how it is. Right, so while we are waiting for top off descent, we're going to set our ultimate, at the altitude on the MCP, not the altimeter, but the altitude on the MCP. We're going to go down to 4,000. We're going to go down to auto brake 1. We don't need to arm our speed brake yet. That we can do a little bit later. We are definitely going to use the speed brake, and don't fall for the old lame story that's a lever of shame or whatever the guys call it. You are the pilot in command. Use the thing. You have to do what you have to do. So if you need it, you need it. And one of the things, that star over there, that very waypoint as you enter ADNOV over there, it's a flyover, not a fly past waypoint. And the Zibo, if you're not slow enough, it will shoot by it. So it's gonna have to turn back onto the localizer, and depending how fast you are, you go faster than usual, you're just gonna increase your turn to have to come back anyway. So you're gonna have to slow down and help yourself a little bit there.
Anybody got any questions? Any? Yes.
Go for it.
What time are they coming down with the drinks?
Shortly.
We're
Shortly.
exactly on the button there because I just landed in Porto and I used your thing that you did today last night. I just watched it this morning and it's working.
Right, so first time I'm going to use my speed brakes now, so I'm going to bring it down. Johan, 180 knots at ADNOV. What on earth are you on about ADNOV? You mean ADNOV? I think you mean ADNOV, that one at the top there. Ah, okay. Well, I'm not sure if it's going to be 180 knots, but it's going to be as low as I can under the circumstances. So let's see what's going to happen there, Johan.
From the flight deck, we've started our descent. Should have you in the ground in about 15 minutes. Want to thank you so much for your company and business. And
So if you look at the India over there, we've got a deceleration point. Now when you hit that point, you're going to have to use your speed brake again. And then I would normally, and if I can remember today, I'll do the same. I would start adding flaps before we get there, because the slower we can get at that point, the less the flyby will be, you know, the turning circle to come back would be. Again, that's another one of the reasons I like flying this actual route, because it gives you a lot to think about, a lot to do, a lot to practice with. Because it shoots over it, Normand. If you look at this one, look, it turned before the time. It's a flyby. So just when it gets close enough, it will fly by. So it turns before it. That one's a fly over because it doesn't turn before it. It actually shoots over it. Best way to describe it, you'll see. It is going to go over it. So, and then it has to turn back. Alright, so when it gets to about 230, I'm going to pull the first notch of flaps and just help the aircraft slow down a little bit more.
Thousand to go.
I'm going to arm my approach button already. See if we can minimize that flyover, because otherwise you'll see it goes way over. Go for flaps 5.
1,000 to go.
See, it's overshot it completely. Now it's got to turn harshly to come back. Normand, I don't know. I can't say that I know anything about that, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie to you. Don't know. Not sure about that. Right, so now we can go to our QNH and we can lift our speed brake. We don't need that anymore. Right, so that is our final approach fix, and we need to be configured as close to it as possible. So we're going to go flaps 15 with the gear down, and then we can start bringing down our speed. And I'm going to already arm command B just to make sure we don't forget about that one, because of this Autoland we want to do. Right, so we said that we have a VREF of 136 as it's displayed there, and we said we're going to add 10, so we want to be at 146. And we want to be at flaps 40. So there's flaps 40. Alright, so we are fully configured before we reach our final approach fix.
Apart from flaps 4 to you're
No, I'm on. Exactly, jet noise. Exactly. Right, so let's run through our checks. Lights, ignitions, seat belts, gear down, green light, flaps. Green light, flaps is 40. We've got the appropriate rev speed. Auto brake is on 1 and speed brake is armed. Alright, so we are set to land. Now we're just going to watch the show.
clear for landing.
Thank you so much. Not fast enough. Right, so I think it's about 4 miles out or 3.5 miles out. It's around about there between 3.5 and 4 miles out. You will see these little diamonds are going to flash. It's going to go on, off, flash. And straight thereafter it will go to land 3 and tell us that our Autoland is available. It will then also show us that the flare and the rollout is available in our little information bar at the top there. There it's flashing, but before it's a bit further out than at at Lisbon. There we go, it's just done it. Alright, let's just quickly also see what is our go around altitude. I forgot to check that.
Land 3 engaged.
Straight ahead 6,000, so we're going to see 6,000. Right, so we are fully good.
1,000 feet stabilized, Mr. Birch, altitude set.
Thanks, Yuan. So it's about the altitude, 1,400. Nice in the milk.
Approaching 17.
And when coming out of the 1 o'clock.
Yeah, 9 knots. There's the runway lights. There's minimums coming up.
Right, you can see.
Yeah, but remember I'm 10 seconds ahead of you guys.
Approaching
Remember that.
minimums. 100.
Light slow. Light slow.
50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Turning a watch. Yeah, that was almost spot on.
Yeah, I hope you guys like that. No, I don't even want to. I don't even want to, sorry. I prefer my NG with all the bells and whistles and the navigation equipment it's got there. I tell you what.
In the clouds could be fun.
Yeah. Tell you.
Otherwise you got plenty of fuel.
Yeah. I cannot tell you guys how much I've enjoyed doing all the Autolands and all the playing around today. It's just been so much fun.
Right, when you parked up, I do have one question about the chart.
About what?
You spoke over Nico. I said, when you parked up, I do have one question about interpretation of the chart.
Okay. Interpretation of the chart. Okay. I'm just looking for the exit somewhere here.
If I didn't know better, I'd say it's foggy.
Yeah, it's a bit foggy.
Are you going to do a side on, Nico? Oh, look at that off the wing 10.
Sorry, I'm taking screenshots. That's why it looks like it's freezing, guys. Sorry about that. But that just looks so good.
I think on that we
Very impressive. I want to show you the outside view as well now. So,
And when you've done all that, can we have a look at the landing rate?
yeah. I just want to get my position right, then we can do this again and zoom in and out and play with the camera a little bit. $60.
You can't complain at that, can you?
nice.
Mark, I have absolutely no idea. It just showed up one day. Many people have asked me. I'm not sure if it's part of the Explain update or if it's something Zibo did or Twixter did. I don't know. I have absolutely no idea. I'm just glad I do have it.
It's an extra that Zibo gave just to Nico.
No, I've seen it a couple of other places. Yeah. All right, McTrying, while we're waiting for that thing, here's your chart. Let's get the display going. What interpretation are you trying to split hairs on now?
Right. It's the Zibo interpretation, and that is not the ILS approach, the star.
The star,
Yeah.
that one.
No, not the ILS approach.
Wait,
the star.
10 seconds, it's coming.
Right. That ADNOV
Yeah.
waypoint is not a flyover point.
Well, the way it handles it, it appears to be
I
one.
agree with you. If it was a flyover point, that ADNOV star should have a circle round it. I'm willing to be corrected by real pilots, but a flyover point should have a circle round the star.
It's possible. Okay, I don't know it to that extent. McTrying, somebody else made the point there. I can't remember Norman. I think, yeah, Norman made a mention of it. I don't know. I'll ask Twixter later when I speak with him if he's available. I'll ask him. But the way that the Zibo handles that thing is, you know.
Don't get me wrong. There are many instances where it doesn't handle a fix as a flyover point when it should and when it doesn't. And it's probably all to do with how Navigraph code their data as well. But in that picture, that is not a flyover waypoint.
Understand what you say. Okay, well, thanks for educating me on that. I'll find out and then we can discuss it again later. But in terms of the stream, guys, if you go into my OneDrive and you go to the Zibo and the Autoland folder, you will find this PDF in there. So this is like a little summary I made for you guys. If you guys want to go and try it, remember I said the weather file for Active Sky is in there. The actual flight plan that you can import into your FMC is in there. And then this PDF is in there just to remind you guys what to look out for, what needs to be set in order for you guys to actually get the same results as I'm getting. and you obviously have the proof here on the video that everything is working. So I just thought I'd give you guys something in terms of some education and a bit of a tutorial today. And I hope you guys enjoyed it and learned something. And I've had a couple of reports. Kevin, John, Jose, a couple of guys have said that after this first video, the one before this stream that we made this morning, just after midnight my time, the guys have gone and actually implemented what I said, and they've had successful auto lands, and I'm very proud of you guys. Thank you so much for the feedback as well. It tells me that there is value in what I'm doing as well, so thank you for that. And then
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, I should just clarify the one point um, to everybody, and that is look at your landing page in the FMC to make certain you get the course correct.
Yes, because as long as this course is yellow and with a strike out through it, it's not going to work. This is what we said to Norman earlier as well. Disregard your chart. The chart could be old. There's many reasons for it. Zibo has done his best to marry the old data from Explain to the new data from Navigraph, and you need to then look at your INET reference page. It's going to give you the actual course. You need to use the one in the FMC.
Hello, James. How are you doing?
Hello, Johan. Lekker jy. Andrew and Mark, thanks guys. Appreciate it.
And very nicely put together little stream, Nick.
Thank you, McDrawing. Thank you, Jet Noise. Guys, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening. That's it for me for now for this stream. I'm going to have to fight with this Streamlabs OBS and see if I can get my stream going again. If you guys get a notice of other streams, it's just me playing tonight. We'll worry about another stream on a different day. I'll see if I can test it so it doesn't bother you guys, but if you do get notifications, I do apologize.
No worries, Nico. Thank you.
Awesome. Bye bye guys. See ya.